So you wake up on a normal Tuesday morning. You grab your keys, drink your coffee, and head to work. Halfway through the day, your phone starts vibrating nonstop. Friends are calling, family members are texting, your boss wants to see you immediately. You have no idea what is happening. Then someone hands you a piece of paper. At the top, in bold letters, it says, "Restraining order." Your heart drops. You tell yourself, there must be some mistake. After all, you haven't been arrested. You haven't been convicted of a crime. You haven't even had your day in court yet. So how bad could it really be? Very bad. Okay, I will make this video as short as possible because I know you are in a hurry. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video. It helps us a whole lot. The thing most people don't realize is that a restraining order can start changing your life long before a judge decides who is right or wrong. You could be forced to leave your own home. You could be ordered to stop contacting someone you speak to every day. You could suddenly find yourself unable to see your children, except under strict conditions. Some people have lost jobs. Others have lost professional licenses. Many discover that a single court document can affect nearly every part of their daily life. And here's the scary part. A lot of people make mistakes immediately after being served because they assume the order is just a piece of paper that won't matter until a future court hearing. That assumption can make a bad situation much worse. Today, we're going to walk through exactly what can happen after a restraining order is filed against you, what your rights are, what mistakes people commonly make, and why the first few hours after receiving one can be some of the most important hours of your life. Stay with me, because one small decision made after receiving a restraining order could determine whether the situation gets resolved or spirals into something much bigger. I have a friend some time ago. His name is Michael. Michael is not a criminal. He has a job, he pays his bills, he coaches his son's soccer team on weekends. So one fateful day after an argument with his former partner, he assumes life will eventually calm down and everyone will move on. A few days later, there is a knock at the door. A police officer hands him legal papers. His former partner has requested a restraining order. Michael is shocked. He believes the allegations are exaggerated. He believes the situation is unfair. But whether he agrees with the allegations or not, one fact immediately becomes important. The restraining order is now real, and from that moment forward, his choices matter. Many people think a restraining order is simply a court telling someone to stay away from another person. In reality, the consequences can be much broader than that. The exact rules vary depending on the state, the type of restraining order, and the facts of the case. However, there are several consequences that frequently surprise people. Let's look at them one by one. 1. You may be forced out of your own home. This is often the first major shock. Imagine living in a house for 10 years. Your name is on the lease. Your furniture is inside. Your clothes are inside. Your memories are inside. Then suddenly a court order tells you that you cannot return there. Many restraining orders include provisions requiring one person to stay away from a shared residence. Police officers may accompany the person while they collect a limited number of personal belongings. After that, they may be prohibited from returning until a court hearing occurs. For many people, the emotional impact is overwhelming. They aren't just losing access to a building, they're losing access to the place they call home. Number 2, contacting the other person can create bigger problems. This is one of the most common mistakes happens almost immediately. The person receives the restraining order and thinks, "I'll just call and explain everything." Bad idea. Very bad idea. If the order prohibits communication, even a friendly text message can create serious legal problems. Many people assume that if the other person responds positively, the communication is acceptable. That is not always true. The order controls what happens, not the wishes of either party. A simple message saying, "Can we talk about this?" could become evidence that the order was violated. Number 3. Child custody issues can appear overnight. For parents, this is often the most painful consequence. Imagine picking up your children from school every day. Then suddenly a court order changes the rules. Depending on the circumstances, visitation arrangements may be modified. Communication regarding children may become restricted. Additional court proceedings may be required before normal parenting routines can resume. Many parents are shocked to discover how quickly family dynamics can change once legal restrictions enter the picture. Number 4. Employment problems. This is something many people never see coming. Let's say your employer learns about the restraining order. Maybe it becomes public. Maybe workplace security receives information about it. Maybe your job requires a professional license or security clearance. Depending on the circumstances, your employer may have concerns about workplace safety, company policy, or regulatory requirements. In some professions, the consequences can be significant. People working in law enforcement, education, healthcare, security, government positions, and other regulated industries may face additional scrutiny. Not every restraining order leads to employment problems, but for some individuals, the workplace impact can be very real. Number 5. Professional licenses can be affected. Many careers depend on licenses issued by government agencies or professional boards. Teachers, nurses, security professionals, certain financial professionals, contractors, healthcare workers. The effect varies greatly depending on state law and the specific profession, but some licensing boards may require disclosure of certain legal proceedings or conduct investigations when complaints arise. This is why people are often advised to take restraining order proceedings seriously from the very beginning. Number 6. Firearms restrictions. In many jurisdictions, restraining orders can affect firearm possession rights. The rules differ substantially depending on the type of order, state law, and federal law. For some individuals, this becomes one of the most significant consequences because it affects personal rights, employment responsibilities, or both. This area of law can be complex, making legal guidance especially important. Remember Michael? He believed the hearing was weeks away. He thought he had plenty of time. He assumed nothing major would happen until he stood before a judge. That assumption is what gets many people into trouble. Some ignore the paperwork, some skip court dates, some continue communicating with the protected person, others post angry messages on social media. Every one of those actions can create additional legal complications. A restraining order is not something that becomes important later. It becomes important immediately. So, what should you do after being served? The first step is simple. Read every page carefully. Every condition matters. Every restriction matters. Every deadline matters. Secondly, comply with the order even if you strongly disagree with it. Arguing that the order is unfair is generally not a defense for violating it. Thirdly, prepare for the court hearing. That is typically where evidence can be presented and both sides can be heard. And finally, understand that being served with a restraining order does not automatically mean someone has been guilty of a crime. Most of you misunderstand this point. A restraining order is a civil court matter in many situations, although violations can sometimes lead to criminal consequences. The legal process exists to allow a judge to review evidence and make decisions according to the law. So, a restraining order is often viewed as a simple command to stay away from another person, but as you've seen today, the consequences can reach much further. Your home, your children, your job, your professional license, your daily routine, even your future opportunities. That's why understanding your rights and responsibilities is so important, and that's also why ignoring a restraining order can be one of the worst mistakes someone can make.